Toast to freedom, Elon Matty. You'll be finished long before I am. Jessica said that with a smile sharp enough to slice stone the night she celebrated our divorce with her friends, and with the man she never told me was her half-brother. She had no idea I was already tracing every lie she'd built our marriage on. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the moment her cousin's sister appeared at my door, trembling, carrying the truth that would turn my entire world inside out. Viewers, let me ask you, what's the worst secret you've ever discovered too late? Tell me below. Please subscribe, like, comment and watch till the ending to share this interesting story to family and friend. My name is Elon Matty, and for most of my 34 years I believed life rewarded the patient, the loyal, the steady. I'm an architect in Seattle, one of those people who can spend hours sketching a roofline but completely miss the cracks forming in my own home. Funny thing, isn't it? You can design perfect structures for strangers, yet fail to notice when the one you share a roof with is quietly tearing your life apart beam by beam. My marriage to Jessica Elon ended 2 weeks ago. I signed the final papers with a shaky hand and a stomach full of regret. She didn't come to the hearing, didn't look me in the eye, didn't even send a text. But that night, while I sat in my dark condo surrounded by half-packed boxes, she celebrated. Loudly. Publicly. A rooftop bar, champagne, her voice ringing through a friend's video. Finally free. You'd think anger would have hit me first. But it didn't. Just quiet disbelief. Jessica had always been complicated, but I'd never imagined she would be proud of ending us. Maybe that was the first sign that something much bigger, much darker had been brewing under the surface. I kept replaying our early days together. Her smile bright and mischievous, the way she would cling to my arm at family gatherings, how she told me once that she'd never had anyone she could truly rely on until me. I see now, in hindsight, how carefully chosen those words always were. The doorbell rang that night, sharp, unexpected. When I opened the door, Maya, Jessica's cousin sister, stood there drenched from the rain, gripping something in her trembling hand. Her eyes were red, almost pleading. "Elon," she whispered, voice cracking. "You need to hear what Jessica did to you." And in that moment I felt the foundation of my life shift, like a structure built wrong from the start finally giving way. Maya stepped inside like someone afraid the storm outside might drag her back. Water dripped from her hair onto my hardwood floor, but she didn't seem to notice. She clutched a small USB drive so tightly her knuckles had turned colorless, and for a second I wondered if she'd drop it or crush it. I'd only met her a few times, quiet, polite, soft-spoken, but nothing about her tonight carried that softness. Her expression was carved from fear and something heavier, guilt, maybe. I shut the door behind her and she flinched at the click. "Maya," I said gently, "what happened?" She didn't answer at first. She paced, rubbing her palms together as though trying to wash off something invisible. I offered her a towel, but she shook her head. "I'm fine. I'm fine," she whispered, though her voice said the opposite. Finally, she held up the USB drive like it weighed 100 pounds. "Elon, Jessica didn't just cheat on you," she said. "She set you up." The words hit harder than I expected. Cheating I could wrap my mind around. Betrayal hurts, but it's human. But set me up? That phrase carried the cold precision of intent. I asked her to explain, but she looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. "Not yet," she said. "You need to see it first. If I try to explain it out loud, I don't know if I can say it." We moved to the living room, and for a second her gaze drifted around the space. The minimalist furniture, the sketches pinned above my drafting desk, the framed photo of Jessica and me from years ago. She stared at that photo longer than she should have, jaw tightening, as if it represented a lie she'd helped keep alive. Before I could ask why she suddenly looked ashamed, her voice cracked again. "You have no idea what she's done to you. And God, Elon, I should have told you sooner." She handed me the USB. It shook in her palm like a confession waiting to shatter my life. "Please," she whispered, "just watch what's on this." And something deep inside me knew, my nightmare was only begging. "And please don't forget to subscribe." The USB slid into my laptop with a faint click that felt louder than it should. Maya sat on the edge of the couch, fingers woven so tightly together her knuckles turned white. I could feel her eyes on me, waiting for the moment everything would break open. The first file loaded automatically, a grainy video from my old office. I leaned forward. There was Jessica, my wife, or the ghost of the person I thought she was, sitting at my desk like she owned it. Crossed legs, easy smile, twirling a pen between her fingers. Across from her sat a man I'd never seen before. Dark hair. Expensive watch. A confidence that felt oily even through a screen. Then I heard her voice. Calm, cheerful, cruel. Elon trusts me completely. That's why this is going to work. My breath left my chest. I didn't blink. I couldn't. The man laughed, leaning closer. He won't see anything coming. People like him never do. People like him. Like I was a type. A category. A mark. I paused the video. My throat felt raw. Who is he? I asked. Maya swallowed. Not yet. You need to see more. So I clicked the next file. Screenshots. Text messages. A voice recording where Jessica described how she'd prepare the documents and push the divorce forward before Elon notices the money. The room spun slowly as if gravity had shifted. But something else caught my attention, something subtle. In several recordings, a faint whispering voice surfaced from off-screen. A woman's voice. Giving cues. Directing. Coordinating. I turned to Maya. Who is that? Her eyes dropped to the floor. That's Tessa, she said quietly. Jessica's closest friend. I frowned, confused. I thought Tessa supported our marriage. She said she did. But she didn't. Maya's voice trembled. None of this was an accident, Elon. Jessica wasn't acting alone. And then she added something I wasn't prepared for. Tessa betrayed Jessica too. And that's only the beginning of this mess. The room suddenly felt smaller. Tighter. Everything I had believed about my marriage was unraveling one whisper at a time. Maya hesitated before continuing, as if the next part of the truth might physically hurt to speak aloud. I closed the laptop, its screen still glowing between us like an open wound. She clasped her hands together, took a shaky breath, and began. Tessa didn't just help Jessica, she said. She engineered it. I frowned. But she was Jessica's best friend. Maya let out a bitter laugh. Exactly. That's why Jessica never saw her coming. She moved to the window, staring out at the rain-slicked street below, as though watching her own memories fall apart. You remember how Jessica and Tessa met? That summer after college? Jessica always told people it was random, that they just clicked. But it wasn't random at all. Her voice dipped low, almost a confession. Tessa's fiancé left her because of Jessica. Jessica seduced him, bragged about it, and then tossed him aside. It destroyed Tessa's life. Her career, her reputation, everything. She swore she'd get her revenge. The realization hit like a slow-moving punch. So she waited, I murmured. 5 years, Maya said. 5 years of pretending to be Jessica's loyal friend. 5 years of studying her, encouraging her worst impulses, pushing her deeper into that gambling addiction. She looked at me, eyes sharp with grief and disgust. Tessa didn't just want Jessica to fall. She wanted her to crumble from the inside. I ran a hand through my hair. Betrayal upon betrayal, like layers of rot beneath paint. Jessica had hurt me, yes, but she was also being manipulated by the one person she trusted most. It didn't excuse anything, but it twisted everything. Maya approached me slowly. Tessa's been contacting me for weeks. She said she felt guilty about dragging you into this. She didn't want you to take the fall for Jessica. Her voice trembled. She said Jessica's planning something much worse than just cheating or divorce. I stared at Maya, every muscle in my body tightening. What is she planning? Maya exhaled, her face paling. Elon, tomorrow Jessica is filing something at the court. Something that could ruin you. The floor seemed to tilt under my feet. And I knew then, my life wasn't just falling apart. It was being dismantled, piece by people I didn't even know were Nemis. Please don't forget to subscribe. I felt an ache grow behind my ribs, a slow-burning pressure that made it hard to breathe. Ruin me how? I asked, but Maya didn't answer. She just motioned for me to grab my jacket. You need to see Tessa, she said. Tonight. The drive through Seattle's wet streets blurred by in streaks of neon and distorted reflections. My mind replayed Jessica's voice from the recordings, the casual cruelty, the laughter that suddenly sounded so unfamiliar. I kept wondering when, exactly, my marriage shifted from love to manipulation, from partnership to trap. Was it subtle at first? A comment here, a lie there? Or did she plan everything from the start and I just missed all the signs because I desperately wanted to believe in us? We met Tessa at an empty coffee shop on East Pike, the kind of place that smelled like burnt espresso and exhausted dreams. She was already seated, wearing a hooded coat, her leg bouncing under the table with nervous energy. When she saw me, she flinched, not out of fear but guilt. Elon, she said softly, you deserve the truth. Her voice was different from what I remembered, less polished, more frayed. She slid a thick folder across the table. Inside were documents, bank statements, forged invoices, contracts, signatures meticulously duplicated. My signatures. She's filing these tomorrow, Tessa whispered. Accusing you of embezzlement and fraud. Jessica's lover helped her create the paper trail. Once this is submitted, the investigation goes straight to you. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. I skimmed pages that mirrored my handwriting so perfectly it made my stomach twist. Why tell me now? I asked. Tessa's eyes hardened with fear. Because I made her worse. I pushed her deeper. I encouraged decisions I thought would destroy her, not you. But her lover found out what I was doing. He's blackmailing me. He said if I don't stay quiet, he'll pin all of it on me, and on you. Maya leaned closer. We have one chance, Elon. We get to your old office, we find the original documents Jessica forged, and we stop her before she files them. Tessa swallowed hard. If we don't, you'll be in handcuffs by morning. The storm outside cracked with lightning as if punctuating her warning. And for the first time that night I felt real fear. The building that once held my office looked different at night. Emptier, colder, like a place trying to forget I ever worked there. We parked a block away, the rain now a soft drizzle tapping against the windshield. I stared at the dark windows, remembering all the nights I stayed late drafting designs while Jessica texted me, "Come home soon, babe." Now I wondered if she ever meant any of those words, or if she was just checking how long she had before I'd notice what she was doing. Tessa handed me my old spare keycard. It still works, she murmured. I checked. That alone told me she'd been planning something long before tonight. Inside, the elevator hummed with a sterile buzz, climbing slowly. Maya kept glancing at the mirrored walls as if expecting Jessica's lover to appear behind us. I kept my jaw clenched, replaying Jessica's laugh in the video. Sharp, careless, the laugh of someone who thought she'd already won. When the elevator doors opened, my heart sank. The office was destroyed. Not messy, ransacked. Papers torn from drawers, file cabinets pried open. Even my old drafting table flipped on its side like someone wanted to erase every trace of my work. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting long, trembling shadows. Someone got here first, Maya whispered. Tessa rushed to the filing cabinets. No, 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 she yanked folders open, flipping through empty dividers. They took everything. I went straight to the security monitor room at the end of the hallway, praying the feed hadn't been wiped. It hadn't. The footage from half an hour earlier showed a man entering with a crowbar and moving with practiced confidence. My breath caught in my throat. Jessica's lover. Wearing my old briefcase slung over his shoulder. Maya gasped. He's planting evidence. He's setting you up for corporate theft now. She grabbed my arm, trembling. Elon, he's building a case that puts you behind bars. This is bigger than Jessica. I stared at the footage, ice spreading through my veins. Tessa stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. There's something I never told Jessica. Something I never told anyone. She swallowed hard. That man she's sleeping with, he isn't just her affair. My chest tightened. Then who is he? Maya answered instead, her voice cracking. He's her half-brother, Elon. The world seemed to tilt sideways. This wasn't an affair. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't impulsive betrayal. It was a family operation, calculated, deliberate, and years in the making. And I had walked right into the sea. Nervit, please don't forget to subscribe. The revelation about Jessica's half-brother clung to me like cold smoke, seeping into every breath. I couldn't fully process it, not yet, but Tessa insisted we leave the office immediately. If he was here not long ago, she whispered, he might still be close. And as much as I wanted to stay to look for anything he might have missed, a deeper instinct told me she was right. They were always one step ahead. Staying meant danger. Staying meant playing by their script. Outside, the rain had stopped but the air felt heavy, swollen with the storm's leftover threat. We stood on the sidewalk, all three of us trying to calm our breathing. Maya hugged her jacket tighter. Where would they go? She murmured. Tessa didn't hesitate. Where Jessica always goes when she thinks she's won. It hit me immediately, the rooftop bar. The same place she'd celebrated the night our divorce was finalized. I remembered that night's video. Jessica laughing beneath string lights, her arm around her half-brother, champagne splashing as she toasted her freedom. That place wasn't just a bar to her, it was a throne. A victory platform. Tessa pulled out her phone, scrolling through Jessica's social media. There, she said, showing a new post, fresh, barely an hour old. Jessica in a glittering dress, champagne flute raised again, surrounded by the same friends who cheered her divorce. Her smile stretched wide, triumphant. But now I saw something different in her expression. Something colder. An arrogance sharpened into cruelty. "She's celebrating," I said softly. "Because she thinks I'm finished." Maya touched my arm gently, her eyes full of a sympathy that almost broke me. "She doesn't know we know," she whispered. This is the moment everything flips." We drove in silence toward the bar, the city lights blurring past like streaks of accusation. My heart hammered with each block we passed, each turn that brought us closer. I could feel the confrontation rising like heat under my skin. When we walked into the rooftop bar, music pulsed through the air, weaving with the murmur of conversations. The glow of hanging bulbs cast warm halos across laughing faces. And then I saw her. Jessica. Laughing. Glowing. Triumph pouring off her like perfume. She froze when her eyes met mine, mid-laugh, mid-glass raised, mid-celebration. Her half-brother leaned back in his seat, confidence radiating from him like poison. "Didn't expect you tonight," he said. But I didn't answer him. I walked forward, placing the USB drive on the center of their table. "I know everything," I said. Jessica's smile collapsed slowly, beautifully, like a mask melting off her face. And the entire rooftop seemed to hold its breath. The moment the USB drive hit the table, Jessica's expression fractured. Shock first, then irritation, then a flicker of something darker. She glanced quickly at her half-brother, as if silently asking how much I knew and how much damage this little device could actually do. The music thumped behind us, a deep bass like a heartbeat on the edge of panic. Her half-brother leaned forward, elbows on the table, smirking with a slow, predatory calm. "You're bluffing," he said. "You wouldn't come here unless you were desperate." His voice had that oily ease of someone who'd manipulated people his entire life. Someone who knew the power of fear. But I wasn't afraid, not anymore. "It's all on there," I said, keeping my voice steady. "The forged documents. The recordings. The handwriting analysis. Your visits to my office. Jessica's plan to frame me. And Tessa's part in it." Jessica's jaw clenched at Tessa's name. She turned her glare to her cousin, venom dripping. "You brought him here?" Tessa stepped from behind me, trembling but resolute. "I'm done protecting you," she said. "Done cleaning up your lies. Done being threatened." Jessica shot to her feet, knocking her chair over. "You think you can turn on me? After everything I did for you? I saved your life, Tessa." And there it was, the first of many buried truths. Tessa's eyes glossed with pain. "You didn't save me," she whispered. "You trapped me. You used what happened to me to keep me quiet. To keep me loyal." Jessica's face twisted in fury. "Watch yourself." The bar had gone quiet around us, conversations slowing to whispers. Maya moved beside me, her presence grounding, steady. "We're done being intimidated," she said to Jessica. Jessica's half-brother rose to his feet too, only he wasn't angry, he was amused. "You really think any of this matters?" he asked me. "Even if you expose us, we burn everything around you on the way down. Jessica walks away clean. You go to jail. Tessa becomes the scapegoat." Tessa flinched. He was right about one thing, they had contingencies. But I had something they didn't expect. Foresight. I already sent copies to my lawyer. I lied, mostly. And to Maya's firm. And to a journalist. If anything happens to us tonight, if any report gets filed against me, everything goes live. Public. For the first time I saw it, fear. In both of their eyes. A thin, invisible crack splintered their confidence. Jessica swallowed hard. "You're bluffing," she whispered, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. Her half-brother's jaw tightened. "We're leaving," he said sharply, grabbing her wrist. Jessica yanked her arm away. "I'm not done." But he pulled her closer, whispering something sharp into her ear. Her face fell. The color drained out of her. And within seconds the two of them slipped out the back exit of the bar. Silence hung heavy around our table. Maya exhaled shakily. Tessa sank into a chair, burying her face in her hands. And me? I felt the smallest shift inside my chest, like the first sliver of air after being underwater too long. But something told me. This wasn't victory. This was just the fracture before the R. Eel break. Please don't forget to subscribe. We left the rooftop bar in a knot of tension. The cold air outside hit me like a slap, clearing away the artificial warmth of the confrontation. But as we stepped onto the street, I felt something shift, like the city itself was holding its breath. Tessa hugged her coat and walked ahead of us, trembling but trying to stay composed. Maya moved closer to me, her presence steady, protective. "You did the right thing," she murmured. But right didn't feel like victory. Right felt like a fuse was burning somewhere out of sight. We'd only made it halfway down the block when the first sign appeared. Jessica's half-brother's car, a black BMW with tinted windows, parked crookedly across an alley. The engine was running. "He's watching us," Maya whispered. "No," Tessa said quietly. "He's waiting." Before I could ask what she meant, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. One line. "You think tonight changes anything? Check your condo." My stomach dropped. I started moving before anyone spoke, breaking into a run toward the parking lot. Maya called after me, but fear had already taken over. I needed to know what he meant. I needed to see it with my own eyes. The drive felt endless. Every red light was torture. Every passing car felt like a threat. My thoughts spiraled. Had they planted evidence? Destroyed something? Hurt someone? When we reached my building, the lobby lights flickered unnaturally as if disturbed. The elevator door opened to my hallway, silent, too silent. And then I saw it. My front door, wide open. The frame splintered. The lock destroyed. Inside, the living room was wrecked. Papers torn apart, drawers overturned, furniture slashed open as if someone had been searching for something with frantic, violent precision. Tessa gasped. Maya grabbed my arm in shock. But what froze me wasn't the destruction. It was the message written on my shattered TV screen. Black marker scrawled across the cracked glass. "You didn't win. You just started a war." My pulse hammered, my mouth dry. Jessica had left a smaller message beneath it, shorter, colder. "You should have stayed quiet, Elon." Outside, somewhere in the hallway, a floorboard creaked. Someone was still here. Someone watching us. Someone waiting. The creak in the hallway froze every muscle in my body. Maya's grip on my arm tightened. Tessa stepped back toward the wall, her breath shaking. The apartment felt colder now, like the walls themselves were bracing for the final blow. I took a slow step forward, heart thundering. "Who's there?" I called out. Silence answered. Then another soft creak, closer. Deliberate. A shadow moved just beyond the doorway, a faint shape shifting against the dim hall light. I motioned for Maya and Tessa to stay behind me and edged toward the noise, anger and fear twisting in my gut. Every instinct screamed at me to stop. But this was my home. My life. My war, whether I wanted it or not. The shadow stepped into view. Not Jessica. Not her half-brother. A woman. Tall. Hooded. Her posture rigid, as if bracing herself against something sharp inside her own mind. When she pulled back the hood, my breath caught. She looked like Jessica, same eyes, same bone structure, but worn down, raw, as if life had carved survival into her skin. "Elon Matty," she said quietly. "I'm Samantha." The name hit me like a punch. Jessica's other sister. The one nobody talked about. The one who left the family years ago. Except she hadn't left. She'd been pushed out. She glanced at the destruction in my apartment, shame flickering across her face. "I didn't do this." "They did. But I came because you need to know the truth before they disappear." Maya stepped closer. "What truth?" Samantha hesitated, then looked straight at me. "You think tonight was about framing you?" she said. "No. Jessica and her brother are running. They're emptying accounts, covering tracks, and burning every bridge. If you hadn't shown up at that bar, they would have been gone by sunrise." Tessa whispered. "Then why threaten him?" "Because they're scared," Samantha said. "You weren't supposed to fight back. And now they think you have something much bigger than forged documents." I frowned. "I don't." She held my gaze, eyes steady. "Yes, you do," she said. "You just don't know it yet." My pulse spiked. "What are you talking about?" Samantha stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Jessica didn't just marry you for love. She married you for access. And before she ran, she left something behind. Something they desperately need. Something they think you found." The room blurred around me. "What did she leave?" I whispered. Samantha exhaled slowly. A storm gathering behind her eyes. "That," she said, "is a story you're not ready for yet." She handed me a small black envelope, thin, sealed, heavy with implication. "When you open this," she whispered, "everything you think you know about Jessica, about your marriage, about why she chose you, will change." Then she stepped back into the hallway. "Be careful, Elon. If they come back, it won't be to threaten you." Her voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "It'll be to finish what they started." And just like that, she was gone. I stared at the envelope in my hand, my life in ruins around me, and realized one devastating truth. This wasn't the ending. This was the beginning of something Much darker. Please subscribe, like, comment and share for more interesting stories.